Okay.
Welcome back, inferior humans.
God damn it.
To a Case of Distrust.
Did you really have to continue the cat into the next episode?
Why would I not continue into the next episode? Don't you have to know
out the door,
really
out the
in
door,
charge
out the door.
around here?
Bye forever, cat. I mounted a gold plate on the outside that read, PC Malone. See, it is Post Malone, the band. Private investigator. Leave. There's only one place I needed to go to clear my head.
I'm pretty sure you're politically correct, Malone.
Southern Coffee. Southern Coffee was a basement dive. It wasn't modern, hip, or ever busy. It was my favorite place to down some paint, especially in the company of the best bartender in the city. Hey, give me some lead-based paint. I'm ready to die.
You got it. You want to become a professional artist?
Yeah. I waved down a taxi cab and was on my way. I thought I might talk with the driver to pass some time.
You seem like a colorful fellow. You about to down some paint?
Yeah. It's gonna be much more colorful once I've drank some paint. Thinking bright blue.
I haven't seen someone as colorful as you since Mr. Green.
As I went to talk to the driver, I noticed a periodical on the seat beside me. I'll read it. One of the magazine's contributors took great offense to Coolidge's position on immigration. But before I contradict him, she wrote, wow, a lot of contradicting going on. Let the president himself tell you his ideals as part of his annual message.
Before you continue, I actually thought, I noticed a periodical on the seat beside me. I was like, why is it a periodic table inside the taxi?
Wow.
Oh my god.
She quoted Coolidge. You want to be Coolidge?
America must be kept American. For this, I propose it is necessary to continue a policy of restricted immigration, based either on a prior census or upon the record of naturalization. Either method would ensure the admission of those with the largest capacity and best intention of becoming citizens.
Boo, boo. This speech, she claimed, was a slap in the face for many recent immigrants. For how many among them would not have the best intentions? His words only hardened opinions of the xenophobes who quiver at the preposterous idea of a Bolshevik revolution. Psh, Bolsheviks.
This idea is full of Bolshevik.
Clever. Perhaps in a modern city, such talk is brushed aside. Of course, the president only means to keep away the criminal ranks, but cast a glance to rural America and observe the change in tone, where foreign is anyone not white and Protestant. It is there that President Coolidge knows exactly his aim: stoke the fires of division to gain the vote of the majority, encourage a democracy of hate.
I actually
when is this game set?
This game is set directly after the Bolshevik Revolution, apparently, where I thought America was isolationist at this time. They're like, we don't really give a fuck about anyone else.
I was being ironic.
Oh.
The taxi cab halted at my destination. I left the magazine on the seat and stepped out. So,
well, now I can't trust you anymore. Hitting me with a rhetorical hammer like that in the face.
You could say you distrust me.
Fine, I'll diss your trust.
I like how I went to talk to the taxi driver, but got distracted by a magazine.
Hey, bub, you know any good, hey.
One second. Southern Coffee was an automat diner. Ethel Burgess, the lone waitress, was friendly to help with any inquiry. Of course, if you winked at her right, she'd show you the way to the downstairs toilet where Frankie played bathroom attendant.
What?
Southern Coffee had the distinct feeling of home. The familiar smell of mold in that old basement was enough to put a grin on my face. Frankie kept a collection of pre-prohibition bottles on a shelf behind the counter. Their shapes and colors were far more alluring than the opaque jugs of modern swill. This label had a poem on it.
Fill for your cups, feel no distress. At all our great thoughts shrinking less. We'll do a good deed nevertheless.
Poetry. I grabbed the wine bottle in the bar and examined its label. It featured a picture of grapes and the words, sacramental use only. Frankie looked at me with a spark in his eyes.
Go ahead,
he said.
Give it a swig.
I downed the bottle. Smashed it. I grabbed the half-empty glass that had been next to the bottle and swirled some of its contents between my gums.
A bit spicy, ain't it?
It's good, I nodded.
It's good!
That was me. I nodded and gulped the rest down.
It'll cost you, too,
he said with a smile and grabbed the bottle from me, turning it through his hands.
Rabbis charge more than a nickel for this booty. Only this type of Napa wine is made from that Zinfandel grape.
A clue.
It has a unique aroma.
I've been trying to learn more about wine. It seemed everyone knew their stuff but me. I noted what Frankie had said about the origin of the grape as he sat the bottle back on the bar. Since when do you know about grapes, you idiot? I chided. Frankie let out a bellied laugh.
You'd be surprised. I actually, I'm getting married to a girl who's has a great winemaker. Oh, I'm sorry, you were talking to the character.
Grapes.
Some of these grapes are older than you, Malone, and I've known about them since I was a small tot. They're my best friends, my lifetime companions. It's why I'm so good at my job. Maybe you should learn a little bit more about yours, you know?
Psh, Frankie sighed.
Too bad more folks can't taste them. A good job, a good grape. That woman's league is the devil.
Aren't you done with the sauce? I asked.
Sure,
He said.
I'm dry now, but I'm not done slinging it.
He grabbed a bottle and twirled it around in his hand with surprising deft.
And I've no right to stop others either.
He put the bottle down, took a breath, and then said in a calm tone,
Those women don't understand. Prohibition doesn't make anyone stop. It just makes them a criminal.
Sounds like you're slowly turning into the Godfather.
That might be true. Where I should have been a stereotypical Irish bartender, perhaps with this kind of face. But you know, I like to have fun. And I don't like to judge people based on their appearances. Malone?
It's your line, Frankie.
Well then take a seat.
He said.
I'll make you something else.
Oh God, he's changing right before my eyes. He was a fantastic orator with his constantly changing voice, but knew when to be a good ear, too. For my money, there hasn't ever been, nor will there be, a more loyal barman. I sat at the bar. You've got the spooks, PC? Oh, no, that's you.
You got the spooks, PCS?
He asked.
It seems like you're reading my mind and know what I'm going to say next. You're worn as a catcher's mitt.
I suppose my exhaustion showed with all these old-timey expressions. I won $100 for nothing, and I can't let it go. I told Frankie about the case, the threatening letter sent to Connor Green,
Oh my.
how he assumed it was related to his bootlegging,
No, that son of a bitch.
and his suspicion of Redstone's stable.
How would you ever suspect such a wonderful little stable?
The story took longer than I'd wanted. Frankie showing genuine interest by asking many questions.
What the fuck?
Yeah, just like that. When I finished, he threw me the whiskey sour he'd been stirring. I took a large gulp and gave a sigh as thanks. You know you actually have to pay for that. I don't take sighs as currency. Well, Green's... is that you? Or,
That's
that's
me.
you.
Well, Green's case is better than most of what you're given.
Hurtful, he said with some enthusiasm.
Look, I speak the truth. At least it's not more of that adultery bunk.
Hey, at least adultery's sexy. Sure, I replied, but I started with the goal in mind. What's the point in helping a man like Green?
Frankie
clicked his tongue on his teeth.
Lawyer, priest. Why does it matter? Let me ask you. Are the clients you have now the types you want to help?
I admitted they weren't. I told him that I'd wanted more from my detecting life.
Everyone wants more in life, kid. It could be that Green's case shoots your career forward, Malone.
I sighed and stared down at my drink. It stared back into me, like the cat, but my daze was interrupted by the basement door opening then slamming shut. A small, blustering woman began marching towards me. She looked younger than 25, and was a few inches shorter than my 5'6". I thought her gray trench coat was too large for that small frame, which was when I realized it was exactly like the one that it belonged to.
Lewis.
My uncle. She likes Lewis. Lewis is his uncle. Why would
Lewis.
My uncle that I love.
Very much.
Very much.
He reminds me of C.S. Lewis in the Chronicles of Narnia. That childhood whimsy.
Narnia.
It's like I'm going through
Whimsy.
into my lovely past.
She hurled insults at me a while. All I could do was sit and take it until she ran out of gas and started breathing heavily. I set my drink on the bar and looked her in the eyes, like a cat. I inserted a hello. I'm Phyllis Malone. How can I help you? Accompanied by a smile as genuine as I could muster.
I thought your name was politically correct, Malone.
That knocked her off balance. She stumbled over her next few words, and I added, And you are? The flame returned to her eyes. Between clenched teeth, she hissed.
I'm the wife of that bum who sneaks into your bed.
The cat?
Feed me!
But humor wasn't her angle, and she launched into another poetic stanza.
And he just left your sty this morning.
She finally ended. That was when I gathered she was Connor Green's wife. Dun dun dun. Mrs. Green, I'm a PI, not a homewrecker, and I don't think your husband in his line of business would want to bet a dick anyhow. Her look was pure incredulity. Wordplay.
A woman in that line of work? I don't believe it.
Let me prove it. With contradiction! Let me whip out my private dick.
Let me rip out my private dick for you.
My contradict evidence.
Statements? Ooh.
Probably home.
Bring out the wine bottle. That'll prove it. Statue, desk lamp, paper stuck.
Notebook with all my old cases.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe the statue I stole that when I was a cop. No. I was
I
hoping
think,
for the plaque that said Private Eye, but yeah, let's go with the notebook.
Before you do that, check out the statements.
I think that's all the stuff I've got. Oh, I could probably use a statement.
Yeah.
If that's got a threatening letter, new bootleg scheme specs it, got Mrs. Green's coat, arrived at some... Okay, cool. I'm going to use my notebook.
Okay, notebook sounds good.
I opened my notebook and flipped through its pages. You see, Mrs. Green, this is what I do, and what I do ain't pretty. There's not much more I can show you to prove it. I mean, I did get the words Private Eye tattooed on my ass, but I don't think you want to see that. Still, it took more coaxing for her to believe me, but eventually she came around. She seemed grateful I explained it to her.
I don't want to show you my ass until shit hits the fan.
Yeah, that's the last resort. Apparently, she had seen her husband leave my apartment, and distraught, she had followed me all the way to Frankie's basement and decided to confront me.
I suppose I lost my head after what I thought I'd seen,
she said, and she began to cry.
Wait,
Whoa, that's a mood shift. Frankie, ever chivalrous to be a dimpled girl, came around the bar and held her up.
That's all right, Mrs. Green. Why don't I hail you cab and send you back home?
She agreed, and they walked together up the stairs. When Frankie returned, I said to him,
You turned night.
No, that was me.
Oh.
You turned night real quick. He snorted a laugh.
Ah, hell. We can't have that siren in here. With a torture yelling like that, every street bugger would have to come to her rescue.
Mrs. Green is a torch singer?
Well, I learned she was Mrs. Connor Green just now, when she came in here. I'd only seen her as Little Fanny, singing lead for the jazz band at the Tin Spoon.
Ah, yes, more vague ass puns. This is going to be a very butt-related game, it seems like. The Tin Spoon, I said. Tiny Paul's joint? That's where Green is selling his liquor.
Get your head out of your ass. Say, you think that's where she met her husband?
I laughed. You're a real sleuth, Frankie. He made a sarcastic bow. I shook my head. You're telling me you escorted our little torture out just to avoid a bit of hot water? Frankie flushed and said,
What are you talking about, Malone?
I was never good with emotions, but it was plain that Frankie had instantly fallen for the girl. So what if I had more to squeeze out of her? I asked.
Oh, what more could you possibly want from from her little Fanny? You can't have anything to do with Green's mess.
There's a lot of things I can squeeze out of her little Fanny.
There's a lot of things I can squeeze out of your bill if you keep going this way.
Let me see. Bottle of poem. Could be Green's learn. No, statement.
Mrs. Gray's coat, because that referenced your uncle. Following your husband, yes. It could be something.
That looked all too familiar. Did you notice her clothes? That grey trench, maybe? I posed to him. Looked a bit large on her, don't you think?
I thought she looked lovely.
He said, I'm not talking about her ass, Frankie. That trench coat, I continued.
I thought we were talking about little Fanny.
Belonged to Lewis. That ass? That ass, Lewis?
I heard he wrote Narnia.
Frankie's eyes widened. So that's you.
So that scumbag Green might have actually done him in. Put him on the voyage of the Drawn Treader. Might have been close to your uncle.
The silver chair, he exclaimed.
Or she might have. Either way, it's not total bunk.
I stood up from the bar stool.
Personally, I prefer token.
What had happened was quite the ruckus. Seemed like my cue to move on. It's also time. I think it's time for us to move on.
Well, I guess it's time for us to move on. Get our little fannies in gear. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
And may the cat decide that you are worth their time. See ya.
Bye.